Hello everyone and welcome back to Durbanites FPL. This is Game Week 12 review and the Game Week 13 preview. Starting once again with the table, 55 points the lead, restored a little bit this week. Selections coming good, but it's all tight underneath second and third, still battling out just 5 points between them. Fourth, still following up close. Fatima PP doing really well. After that, not much change in the next three, but the battle is really close. And then looking at the last five, just a few points between them. Any good season could help. Ascend dropping down right down to the bottom of the table. Titanium slipping from once being fourth on the table. A lot to play for there at the bottom end of the table. Now, looking at the player selections, a little bit of change here. Cole Palmer slipping a little bit now. Only 84% of managers have him. Emil Smith-Rowe and Mo Salah tied with 7 selections out of 12. Sorry, 8 selections out of 12. And then Erling Haaland just over half the managers are preferring him. He's struggling in a Man City side that is struggling, so I wonder how long more they can afford to keep him. Looking at the differentiators for the week, Nicholas Jackson, awesome pick, 1 out of 12 managers with him, scoring well. Pedro Porro coming out in the back, 1/4 of the managers having him in the team, 14 points for him this week, but definitely the star of the week, second in a row. Matthias Cunha, owned by just less than half the managers, scoring very well this week. Now, looking at the hits and misses for the week, 2 hits. Zai coming up with 20 plus points thanks to Pedro Porro in that back line, so coming up with Stonewall. And then on the super striker side, myself and Suad scoring 25 plus points, mainly due to Cunha coming up with a fantastic performance. Now, looking at the misses, also missing out on 19 points in the bench. Some good performances from players that didn't make it onto the field. Didn't hurt in the long run, but might hurt in the very long run. Now, looking at the best possible selection from the teams that we had, Flecken getting the number 1 jersey, 3-5-2 setup, with Pedro Porro starting in the defense, with Robertson and Saliba coming in close. Super expensive defense there. Ahmad doing well for United, Jared Bowen doing well for West Ham against Newcastle, Hutchinson doing well against United as well. And then you've got Mo Salah, who's having a fantastic season, and Thomas Partey scoring a screamer this week to earn him a space on that midfield. That leaves Matthias Cunha as the captain up front, 16 points for him this week, and Nicholas Jackson as his strike partner. That puts Ollie Watkins on the bench with his 7 points, Jared Brandwaite and Nick Link with the Everton duo getting the bench this week, and Jordan Henderson ending up also back as reserve keeper. This team would have got you 127 points on the field, 153 with the bench, still super affordable at 94.8. So definitely worth it this year to look at these players that are not that expensive. Now, looking at the fixture rating for the weeks coming up, very slim pickings. Arsenal have got a fairly good run. Even the Manchester United and Fulham games, you would expect that they would win that, even though it might not be a walk in the park. But Arsenal are looking resurgent. Their injury troubles are behind them, it seems, doing well in Europe as well. So let's see if they can capitalize on that. Brighton is another team who have managed to weather a storm of pretty tough fixtures, coming up now with some really winnable fixtures. Again, Fulham probably the only speed bump along the way, but look at them to make a move. João Pedro is doing really well up front as well. Danny Welbeck will probably make a comeback. They do not have many injury worries. Also a recommendation here is Stupinan, who's again a very good attacking wingback possibility if you're looking for a good defender in the next coming weeks. Then looking at Ipswich, again showing really well against United last week. They have a good run coming up against Forest, Palace, Bournemouth and Wolves before getting into Newcastle and Arsenal. Mari Hutchinson, the youngster from Chelsea, showing that he can really make things happen with a goal against United last week, a stunning one at that. Then Wolves, again, good matches ahead of them before they get to game week 18. Winnable matches. They're really starting to get some momentum behind them with the away win against Fulham last week, 4-1. Matthias Cunha starting in that one. He has scored in double figures the last 2 weeks, and looking at the opponents in front of him, chances are he will grab a couple more. Now, those that we need to be cautious with, Fulham have been doing really well this season. Emil Smith Rowe, Alexei Iwobi, Anthony Robinson, a lot of stars in that, including Harry Wilson. However, they have Spurs coming up. Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea are four of their games in the next 6 weeks. Brighton is not a walkover this season, as we said. Southampton probably the only one that I would give them the advantage. Time to start thinking about whether those guys need to move off your team. Liverpool doing really well with Mo Salah leading the charge. Arne Slot's got a fantastic gap in the lead at the top of the table, having a great time in Europe as well. But City and Newcastle back to back, and Spurs coming a few weeks later than that. Merseyside derby following the Newcastle game. It's not the easiest run. Maybe look at only keeping Salah around, but for the rest, no recommendations. Manchester City coming off a 6-game losing streak and then taking on Liverpool is insanity. Then Notts Forest, who are again not a pushover this season. Manchester United, the Manchester Derby coming up in game week 16, and then Aston Villa, who are struggling as well, but looking to make things difficult as they try and hold on to their European berths. It's not the easiest run, and they are misfiring currently, so very, very hard pressed to make a recommendation on City's plays. Crystal Palace, also tough games coming up after a fairly good run, some points coming from their players, but Newcastle up next, then City, Brighton, Arsenal coming up, not easy games, so I would think about being very sparing with their players. And then Everton, after a fairly good run, now come up again Manchester United this week. Then got Wolves, and again Wolves have been fairly resurgent. Then Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester City. It is a nightmare run coming up for Everton. They have a few good, cheaper defenders that were there. Also, we've got McNeil in the midfield, but chances are it's going to be a tough run for them. Time to start looking, guys, for that swap. So what does that mean for the back line? The injuries are starting to subside. We've got Alisson still doubtful. Vicario is out for Spurs after picking up a knock in that win over City. Gabriel is doubtful for Arsenal. Botman is out for Newcastle. Lisandro Martinez doubtful for Manchester United. And Bednarek out for Southampton. But what does that leave for the picks? Andre Onana, the top goalkeeper in the Premier League and FPL currently, is available with that run for Manchester United. And David Raya at Arsenal might be worth it, even though he's a bit expensive because of the run of games coming up ahead of him. We've got our picks for defenders, Gabriel and Saliba. That pair from last season is still doing extremely well. Guardiola for Manchester City, more for his attacking threat than his defensive options in the next couple of weeks. Same for Alexander Arnold. Tough games ahead, but they are really talented guys. Dallo and Mazraoui for Manchester United. Mazraoui's been really impressive this season. Definitely has the ability to score and assist, so one to watch. Mike Hall here, Pervis Estupinan, not having the best season, picked up an injury, has had a tough time coming back. But if he's back with the one that Brighton have, he's definitely one that could score a lot of points. So I have put him down as a pick. Hall for Newcastle as well, doing really well at the back. And Pedro Porro, cannot leave him out. He is such a goal-scoring threat. Did really well in that demolition of Manchester City, so definitely one to watch. In the midfield, similar situations, except for Manchester City, who are absolutely reeling with injuries right now. Solly March is still doubtful for Brighton, and Jota is on his way back for Liverpool, but still doubtful. Kudus and Semenyo still serving out their suspensions. But that leaves a lot of picks in midfield, starting with Ice Cold Palmer. For Chelsea, definitely want to pick, and partnering him, of course, Mo Salah from Liverpool. Tough games do not matter to these two. They are supremely talented players. Then Arsenal trio of Saka, Martinelli and Trossard. I specifically left out Martin Odegaard until he is either scoring a bit more after his injury or, of course, priced a bit better. But these three are definitely ones to look at. Brian Mbeumo still has a pretty good game ahead of him before Brentford run into some tough matches. From Manchester United, you're looking at Garnacho and Ahmad, who are doing really well, the youngsters. Bruno Fernandes, of course, because of his penalty taking as well. And Marcus Rashford is now making the lineup more because he is being favoured as a striker, playing centre forward under Ruben Amorim. So definitely a chance for him to score good goals and get a lot of points. Then looking at Newcastle, Anthony Gordon and Harvey Barnes at the picks for that midfield. Bruno Guimaraes picking up a bit of an injury, so not calling him out. Omari Hutchinson is there for Ipswich based on the games they have. Might score goals even if Ipswich don't win. Wolves with the games running up. We're looking at Mario Lemina Jr. and João Gomez, both of them doing really well, scoring goals and assisting. If you're looking for Wolves pickups, they're not that expensive. Looking at the forwards, only Richarlison out, unfortunately. Every other forward is available. What does that mean for the picks, though? For the first time this season, Erling Haaland is not in the picks, again due to his form and due to the games coming up. Definitely not one I would recommend spending money on. But Matheus Cunha is there and Strand Larsen for Wolves, both of them in great form. Wissa is 100% fit for Brentford, Isak for Newcastle, Welbeck and João Pedro for Brighton, although João Pedro has been favoured in the last few games, so you might want to think about him, and of course Liam Delap for Ipswich. Those are the forwards that we're picking for the week ahead. Time for you to decide as well the ones that you're going to bring into your team. Now that's what we have for this week. Hope you enjoyed the video. Drop me a like, a comment if you will, and don't forget to follow and subscribe to the channel. So much for now. Catch you next week.